So I'd say you're pretty much there, at least on this side. The other side line's gone, so you're good. Turn that baby over. What are you doing with these guys, Pepper? Come on out. It's like proper cold out now.
It really is.
All right, here's what's doing at the boat shop, November. Let's go. So we just acquired this Marblehead launch from the bowels of Facebook Marketplace. And we've got a customer. I've been working with him for a while trying to find a launch. And this one here is about as pretty as they get. I don't know the history, but it's a pretty hot little boat. And for all intents and purposes, when you see a boat like this, typically it's going to pieces. But if you look at the plank lines, they're all pretty tight. It's very well built, but the seams are all fairly tight, which indicates that the planking is probably pretty good, or that you don't see rust streaks coming down, which indicates that it's probably bronze fastened. So there are a lot of good things here, but it's been left uncovered, which is where you guys come in, for a while. And everything under the floorboards in this boat is pretty much soil at this point. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it is. If you look in here, it's going to need, it's funny, the frames under the overhang, so under the bow deck and the aft deck here, the frames are actually in pretty good shape. But in the middle part of the boat, they're pretty much pooched. And so we're going to have to do a full reframe here in the intermediate part of the boat. Probably put some floors in, things like that. And the guy wants to put a small Yanmar in here, or maybe an electric. And so chances are once we get into it, we'll be doing a keel and some garboards, and then some all the frames, most of the frames, and probably a new deck, and then stick a Yanmar in it and he'll be good to go. But you know, the backbone structure is kind of toast. It's nice that we have the running gear here, so we can just hook an engine up to it. But the shape is all here. The planking's all good. It really just needs frames. Needs all the oak parts done. So that's the Marblehead launch. You guys, I pulled all that oak out because it's all junk, but I figured it would make for a real good cover support if you want to build a cover support for this. And what I was thinking was you could probably get 2x4 or something, stick it on that thing, and you can screw into this because it's kind of junk already. Okay. And make a vertical, same back there. Okay. Maybe one in the middle. Right. And make a ridge pole. Okay. And then maybe cut some of this stuff up and you can make some little down to the side. Okay. And maybe we'll shrink wrap it or do something. Okay. Make it a marshmallow. Doesn't need to be that high, just high enough that you get a decent angle on the tarp, whatever we put over it. A butt schedule. That's right, folks. You heard it here, a butt schedule. And on a big ship or something, it would be, sometimes it's 3 and 3 or 5 and 5, meaning 3 frames apart and 3 planks apart, meaning you wouldn't have a butt within 3 frame bays and 3 planks, right? So this one's 2. You got 1, 2 planks, not even 2 frame bays. There, you've got nothing. You've got 1 plank apart, you know, that whole thing.
No schedule.
No schedule at all. It's a terrible butt schedule. What do we have here? Locusts from Ben Penta, Ruckus Way Farm. All sorts of beautiful curves and things, all sorts of wormholes. We got the whole 9. So what we were trying to get was some kind of straightish, wet locust so we could try to steam bend it into frames for that gig. But We cut the only straight section we got out of it, and nonetheless, the grain was not lovely, and we got one bent frame out of it. Typically, you don't bend locust. I think because you can't get it with straight enough grain that you would even try, but we figured this was wet enough, and we tried to bend it in a fairly straight section of the boat just to see what would happen. And we were getting a little bit desperate, but we have a line on some oak now, so hopefully we will be steam bending next week. Oak. All right, coming in here, got Ben working on his oar. Let's talk about this. More gig parts. So we were hunting high and low for a keel, and we got a piece from Harold Burnham that was gonna work, and then wasn't gonna work, and then was gonna work. It was about 20 feet long, but knots were all in the wrong spot, had a little bit of a wonkiness to it. And then it dawned on me that we had a spare keel, as you do in a boat shop, have a spare keel kind of floating in the river. And this guy here was an option, I suppose, for the shallop keel back when we were working on that a couple, 3, 4 years ago. And so this has been sitting in the riverbank for a couple years in the river so that it wouldn't dry out and check up. But the piece had the heart boxed. You can't really see it at this end. You can probably see it pretty good at the other end. When you box the heart, when you cut a piece of wood, means you keep the heart of the tree, the pith of the tree, right in the middle. And so they had boxed the heart on this, and what tends to happen over time is whoosh, it takes a twist. And so this had taken that twist, and it's 30 feet long, and over the course of 30 feet, it had about, I don't know, 1.5 inches or so of twist in it. It was only, I think it was a 5x7 or 7x7, something like that. And so what we did was we got it up on horses and got it stabilized, and then took a level to each end and established basically a flat surface, and then took a power planer and planed it down to flat, at least on one surface. And then from there, ran a gigantic circular saw right down the line to sort of clean up, to get a sliver or a slice here that was not twisted, but it had one bad edge still from the twist. And then we turned it up, ran it through the planer a bunch of times, and finally got a 30-foot piece that is parallel-sided on both sides, which took some doing. And then we immediately coated it with some shellac here so that it wouldn't dry out too fast, and then continue to take a weird shape. But it's pretty flexible. Even now, you think a keel wants to be nice and stiff and establish the strong point of the boat, but the scantlings on this gig are so light that a 2-inch by 4-inch piece of wood is not that stiff over its length. So this is not going to be your rigid backbone, but what it does is it ties the whole works together. And the fact that it's 30 feet long is great. We're going to use this in the forward 30 feet of the boat. Reason being, you have 2 big mast steps in the forward 30 feet. We'll put a scarf in it, sort of back aft, where there isn't as much strain on the hull, and there's a lot more shape and floor timbers and such to hold it together. I'm certain that there isn't a gig out there with a singular 40-foot long keel in it, but that's how we'll end up finishing that up. Coming over here, Ben's one of our apprentices. He's a newbie this year, and the newbie project for all of them is to make an oar. That's sort of the get to know the shop project, and so he's working on his oar and getting to know his block plane there. Over here, this monstrosity. This is a dory that was built here long, long ago in another lifetime by someone other than me. and it has lived its useful life. Now it's going to be our new bar. So I told you last time that Winona, our beloved bar, was going to be retired, and this is going to be our new, improved, perhaps more long-lived bar. So we're trying to, this is one of our apprentice projects. We're trying to build it out into a boat bar with inboard coolers and all kinds of cool stuff. So stay tuned for this. And if you're a member or live in the area, you might even be stepping up to this girl next year for a beer or a glass of wine. Back on over here. John just got this set up today. This is another Mohonk Mountain House skiff. And we've seen plenty of these go together over our years, probably online, but it's nice that we do get to keep on building these. So we've got the bottom all fiberglassed, and we've got our frames here that have all been epoxy coated, ready for planking, and our two garboards are right on over there. Gonna have to dig John out a little bit from the other project so he can work. All right, over to gig land. So here we're starting to learn, I guess. So this whole process, you might know how to build a boat, but every step of the way you're learning whatever this particular boat is. So we're trying to see what we can do with our frames. We're trying to keep them pretty heavy. We want this boat to be strong. It wants to be light to win races, of course. And there are certain parameters you have to stay within, certainly as far as scantlings are concerned. But here, we're trying to keep the frames quite large, actually, so that this boat remains sturdy over its years. It is a very long boat to have light frames, but it needs that strength, especially as you saw with that keel that's rather floppy. And so we've tried to bend some oak with little success. And I think, oh, look over here. Here we go. I'm walking away from it. I'm glad John didn't cut these up yet. So the oak that we had was not terribly wet, which is a problem because it needs to have some inherent moisture in it to bend easily. Had some defects, but we tried to keep that in the flat spot. That's not a great piece of grain. But really what it is the wood has to deflect so much over the course of the bend that it's struggling to go places. You can see here the compression has caused it to sort of wrinkle up. So when you bend oak, the outside fibers stretch and the inside fibers compress. And so the compression here has started to buckle some of those fibers. And you can see a great example of it. We tried to get this one to bend. This was an example that we tried because we had no luck with that one. And we kerfed it. So you basically run a bandsaw kerf right down, taking this 1¼ inch and making it 2 bits of, well, theoretically 5/8. And it bent, sort of, kind of, but you can see it made a hard spot right where the kerf stopped. But also, the problem with this is you end up with 2 light frames, almost a laminate. And having talked to the folks up at Atlantic Challenge, the boat that they have is now, I don't know, 25 years old. It is screwed, not riveted. We had talked about riveting this boat. And the word from them is that there's never a problem with the screws, and so that's going to be much less time consuming than riveting. I would feel okay doing curved frames if we were going to rivet, because you would have a fastener running all the way through this, tying the whole thing together. Screwing it, I do not feel comfortable, because what if the screw only gets the first 5/8, doesn't capture both layers? Then you're really only relying on one singular 5/8 layer of oak, and that is not going to be enough. But anyway, that was That was an attempt just for funsies, trying to learn. But also what you learn from this, if you look, here's a good bend down here. Made the bend, but look at how much different those two ends are. So that's just that didn't even make the full curve of the boat, but the inside fibers are having to stretch a half an inch over the outside fibers to make that curve, which is a lot to ask of wood. It'll do it. We'll get it to work, but we just need the right wood. And then there's a stem around here somewhere. There it is. Bless you. There's a stem buried under there. We'll look at that when we start cutting the rabbit. Come on in here. All right, couple of things to look at in here. Here's our Point Comfort 18 going together under the knowledgeable hand of John Lindsley. John learned to build at the landing school lots of years ago, but plywood and epoxy construction. This is a great looking boat. If you haven't seen it, check out whatever wooden boat number this was in. But the owner, future owner for this, was dubious of the height of the top sides, and so what we're doing is we're actually adding, we modified a little bit the plan. We're adding 3 inches to the top sides here and giving him the option of having taller top sides. He may or may not want it, and discussing today if he doesn't want it, we'll just put a line on for the shear where it's supposed to be, take a circ saw and cut it right off, or put the clamp in and take a router, make it what it is to the plans. But we're going to try to make it a little bit taller for him if that's what he wants. So we also modified here. The plans call for sort of a singular keel about this wide, basically as a gluer, a nailer for this bottom piece, so you have some surface to glue to. And what we did was we've made it 2 layers and brought it out. So what that would have left, tell you all your little secrets doing this. And this was John's idea. So here you've got a little keelson thing right there, and it stops and it's kind of a hard edge. So what we did was we took this, made it wider, and brought it right out to the planking, so you actually have like a flat spot to stand on in this boat. This boat doesn't really have any interior, any floorboards, anything like that, so this just gives you some place to stand right in the middle of the boat, and you're not stubbing your toe on that keelson. It also gives you much more surface area to glue the bottom down to, so it makes it a little more rigid, a little more rugged. So that's the long point, not the long point, Point Comfort. Keep calling it the long point, Point Comfort. Let's go downstairs. We'll look at our class. Oh, wait. Why? Why are we running away from this beauty? So here we have the Salty Dog. Now this boat looks like one of ours because it is one of our designs. However, it was not built here. This boat was built by a gentleman whose last name I can't pronounce, Miniot, I think, and he's out in Kentucky, Joe, and he built this from plans from Lowell's back in the late 80s, and he did a fantastic job. I wish he lived closer by. I would hire him tomorrow, but painstakingly built this boat. It's all mahogany. The rivets are all absolutely perfect. He spent a lot of time making those perfect. And beautiful sail rig, 2 options, 2 rudder options. This boat is for sale to a good home. But he did such a great job with this boat. I'm super impressed, and it looks great. And it's 30, how many years old is that? 35 years old? Dang. This is a 19-foot surf dory, sailing surf dory. Confirmed 19 feet. We checked it yesterday. Great. All right, so I've been teaching a class this week, building what we call the Peapod dory. So this is a great little boat, little 12-foot dory. They're usually not this small, and we're learning why this week. We're having a lot of trouble with this little boat. And the reason is that there's so much shape in the 12 feet that we're getting a lot of plank splitting. And so I'm not going to show you because it's embarrassing, but we've had some trouble here, and like this little setup here is an attempt at sort of repairing one of those. You can come on in, sea bass. It's okay. One of those little splits. Put epoxy in it, got it kind of stuck back together. But the class is learning how to do active boat repair in place, in situ. So. This is 4 days, 6 times 4, 24 hours of construction to get to this point, and at least 6 of those 24 hours are pure headache. But we are closing in on it. We've got our next 2 planks are pretty much ready to go on. That'll happen tomorrow morning. We steam bent our gunnels today, so those will be able to go in tomorrow. So by the end of the day tomorrow, this boat should be all planked up with gunnels on it, which will be great. And then sometimes we do a launching, but it's getting pretty cold out there. I don't know. Docks are still in. We could theoretically do it. I foresee having to extend this class probably for a day to just do some finishing touches to get her done. But a really cool boat and a really fun little build, and it's the cutest little thing. But the next time I do it, I think I'll do it with 2 stems. I was talking about that today. Put a stem at either end. So, but these boats at 12 feet, you really never see a dory this short. But this one is a great little boat. So this brings up our event schedule. It is our November update, and what comes after November, but December and in early December. Before our next video will be our holiday open house. So December 6th and 7th. If you are a member. And you can be a member, just go right online to our website. You can sign yourself right up. Our members are invited to a preview party of that on the 5th, Friday the 5th. This whole place gets all decked out, art show, whole 9, but we'll have music that night, apps, big party, and turn it out for that. We will be getting our Christmas trees a couple days maybe before Thanksgiving. I don't know. They don't really ever call me. They just kind of show up with a semi-truck and surprise me. But it's always raining or snowing. And so that'll happen just before Thanksgiving. So Friday, Black Friday. Can't believe we're talking about Black Friday. Seems like we were just talking about the beach. You can come on over and get your Christmas tree. If you know me and you're really anxious and want to get it on Thanksgiving, just shoot me a text and come get one then. But tell your friends, tell your family, it's a great place to come get your tree, and it supports good things like youth programming like we're doing right now. And come see us at the Holiday Open House. Get your Christmas items, get your shopping done early on so you're not totally freaked out on the 24th like I usually am, having not gotten anything. And then you will also, some of you out there, will be getting an annual appeal from us. So it is that time of year that all the nonprofits you have ever given your email or address to will send you a letter asking for money. And we're no different. but we try to do it in a fun way. So be on the lookout for our annual appeal, either in your email or your regular snail mail. Sorry, USPS. And we are teaming up this year with the Museum of Old Newbury for a little surprise. So we've been doing a lot of collabs with them, little collaborations with Bethany over there. She's a good friend and she's one of our board members, and we're both into history, meaning both organizations. We're both trying to make it fun and we're trying to make it kinetic and active, and so we figured why not do an annual appeal that helps us both. So look out for that. And if you don't get it, but you still want to give us money at the end of the year because we're doing good stuff, it's wicked easy to do on the website. Just go there and have a look, have a gander. But thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, of course, always, and we'll see you next month. All right, this is November. November. What are we doing? Why are we branding this? What's happening at the boat shop?
What's doing at the boat shop?
You can stay work on your oar. You got to keep working on that.
It's your idea.
My idea? Oh, what'd you do?
Well, do you want me to help?
No. You've done enough damage for today, Dorothy.
Oh,
You were hoping I wouldn't see this, weren't you?
yeah. I was hoping I could fix it before you came in here.
Oh, hey. I didn't see you there. We live?
We are.
Okay. So this week I have been teaching. Oh, what are you doing in there?
Waiting for Jordan to come back.
Oh my God. All right.
Oh, come on in.
Yeah.
No worries. Sorry.
Yeah.
Fix it in post.
Yeah.